My name's Jacko Strong, I'm 26 years old from Lockhart, Australia, and I ride freestyle motocross. So growing up for me on the farm here, I started on push bikes. Like any other kid, you start on bicycle with training wheels, they come off, you start riding around. Did that for an early age, and then the transition to motorcycles came. Just growing up here in the country, you know, dirt bikes were kind of always a way of life. We used them for getting the sheep in, rounding up cattle, and just riding around and having fun. And I think that, as I got older, progressed into something that I did a lot more. I grew a passion for it, and here we are today. The love for me comes from, I guess, doing something that makes me nervous and keeps me scared, keeps me on my toes, you know? I think that's what makes it fun. Without that, you know, if it was a sport where I was wrapped up in cotton wool or it was football or something like that, I don't think I'd get that same rush, and it just wouldn't be the same way. For me, the adrenaline rush is what kind of drives me to do competition. You know, you can only do so much at home, but when you're in front of 20,000 screaming fans inside a stadium and you're about to send something that you've never done before, you could almost cut the tension with a knife. It's that much. And I think, although in the moment it's scary, I think that's what keeps bringing me back. I'm addicted. So I think it was 2011 X Games when I kind of first came into the USA scene. I'd done the front flip here a bunch at home, and I ended up just going out and doing like 30 front flips to dirt over and over and over, and then just sent them a video and said, look guys, I'm doing it, it's gonna happen.
Yes! First time ever in any competition that the front flip has been set down.
It was always a childhood dream to be able to ride X Games. I think any kid that's in action sports, that is their dream. You know, if you're passionate about action sports, X Games is the highest point you can possibly be. So to be able to get an invite to compete there, you know, that was rewarding enough in itself. And then to be able to compete and get a gold medal, that was definitely a milestone in my life. It's a moment I will never forget. For me personally, when I'm trying to create new tricks, I'll have a look at BMX, because I think that freestyle motocross is a couple years behind the BMX world in the tricks and spins and stuff we can do. We have to go a lot higher to be able to pull the same tricks off that those guys do. But I think that the physics of a BMX bike and the motorcycle are very similar, so I definitely pick ideas from those guys. To do any trick, I think that, you know, the stars really do have to align. The jump's got to be perfect, perfect angle, perfect distance, bike's got to be running on point. And I think after doing it for so many years, you can kind of just look at a jump and say like, hey, that looks good, that'll work. And working on the bike so long, I spend so many hours on my motorcycle each year. If that thing even cops and sputters the tiniest bit or one bolt's loose, I can hear it and know where it is. When you're on the outside looking in at freestyle motocross and you see guys coming to contests and throwing these big, bad, scary new tricks, you think, wow, that guy's crazy, but that's really not how it is at all. So much work goes in behind the scenes, you know, like being able to be physically fit enough and strong enough to be able to pull a dirt bike or move it in that way to make the trick happen is a feat in itself. And then there's countless hours in the foam pit before trying to do something, you know, over and over in the pit. And then before I go to contest, I like to do the trick a few times the dirt, so I'm familiar with what the landing's going to feel like opposed to the foam pit. And that's really risky in itself. And then getting to the contest and doing the actual trick is probably the scariest part of the whole exercise, because you're on a different ramp to what you were practicing. So the elements have changed from practice, and I think that taking it from being out here in the bush to taking it to a contest is the scariest part for me. After you have a little bit of success, I think that there's definitely more expectations around you and more pressure to keep thinking of new things and bringing new tricks. But for me, where I grew up out here, it's pretty relaxed and I'm just cruising, you know. I do the best I possibly can with what I have out here, and if that's not good enough, it's not good enough. But so far, it's been cruising pretty well. So the jumps here have been a work in progress around 15 years now, I think, and started off as a smaller pile, then that pile got bigger and bigger and bigger, moved there, here, there. The dirt that's been shifted around this place over the last 15 years is insane. It moves all the time. I think it has to, because it keeps it fresh for me, otherwise it gets stale, you know. I always look forward to building new jumps and riding new stuff. Having my own place here to ride, it's life for me, you know, it's what I do. I grew up out here, I'm 5th generation on the farm, and it's all I know. When somewhere's home, you can never really change that, and yeah, I've just got everything I need here. I've got my machines to dig my jumps, got my dirt bikes and little pet kangaroo, and I don't think I really need anything else.